everybody. My name is Patty Berne, and this is another episode of Sins Invalid's Crip Bits. And in case you have forgotten, or if this is your first time watching, Crip Bits is a every other month conversation that we have. I'm really excited to be having this conversation. And Sins Invalid is a disability justice-based performance organization. We have two programs. One is a culture building program and program. Again, my name is Patty Berne, and I'm excited to be on the first Crip Bits of 2020. And I will.
Great. I'm an intern here at Sins Invalid. I use he, him pronouns, and I team stuff here and help out with tech support and disability community with everybody here, and be talking with you, Patty, today.
Yeah. Off screen in our normal workings around HQ, like me and Gordon joke around a lot about anything related to the topic. Basically, I mean, even though we're calling it around Valentine's Day, on disability and sexuality and dating tips and fucking and all the good things. And so, as people basically be in our bodies and fuck people, Gordon and I joke around a lot about the topic. So I'm really curious what some of your thoughts are. And we plan actually our coffee. They provide us some really good questions, and I think that's. I mean, if folks here have any questions, you're welcome to write them into the chat. And the chat also has 2020 captioning. If there are any issues, please say so. And I wonder if, let's see, it says end live video. And, say if they're watching, if they can just type in a hello, that would be great. And yeah, the first thing I think, besides just knowing our names, it's helpful to think of disability and sexuality and relationships, be it Valentine's Day or not. I think it's helpful to think about because that shapes then our experience of everything, right? So, for example, for myself, as a person that has a visible disability and who is queer and brown and specifically a chair user. Also now I'm getting older, and so that I think shapes things which I don't anymore. Or maybe 19, but I don't as I used to. I definitely have streaks of gray and yeah, more, which I'm. But anyway, point being, right, for folks that their body differently within ableism and within white supremacy. So just to contextualize it, everything that I say is going to be, in part because of my personal history and also because of the way that I'm perceived. So,
yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, and I myself is white. I'm also queer. Identify as bisexual, and I have visible disability, which is chronic. And I also have major depression. And yeah, both of those are. I have to disclose myself, and I'm read as able-bodied. Yeah. That's how I did it. Yeah.
And I think also, like, for I am cis female, and so that gets read differently. If I were trans, probably the same for you.
Right. Like I read as a cis man.
And I'm wondering, when you were a youngin, how much, oh, it's fine, go ahead. Like how much, I have never asked you if you were disabled at a particular, as disabled, or when you were a little kid. But I guess with disability, maybe with queerness or you know, other kind of like aspects of but Valentine's Day was like for you, like when it was supposed to be, you know, like and receiving those little cute cards that kids buy, you know, 10 for a dollar. Yeah, I remember myself, I kind of felt it. I mean, friends with those little, do you know what I'm talking about? The little ones that look really, but yeah, they're not necessarily, aren't immune from all of the isms and the ways in which, if anything, I think they get underscored when it's with kids. I'm like, oh, like, you know, the person I like is. I knew that I was going to stick out in some way, basically, as a little kid around this, you know, Hallmark kind of time. And I guess I'm wondering for you if that was the case too.
I think myself, I did chronic fatigue syndrome when I was 15, which is 10 years ago now, in the middle of high school and right in the middle of my raging hormone is. So it really did change my sexuality quite a bit. I had definitely growing up this perception of masculinity active was that you showed by, you know, showing how much you could exert your sports, or, you know, like how loud you could be or whatever. And then when I came down with CFS and lost quite a bit of my energy and was spending most of my I felt as though at the time I experienced it almost as like emasculation in a sense, and also like the inability to go hang and go to like big prom parties or things like that kind of led to a kind of social isolation that made me feel unbiased as a partner. So yeah, I had a lot of lonely Valentine's Days after my, specifically, I think, dealing with sort of internalized ableism that really extra hard around Valentine's Day when you're supposed to be a partner and embodying your gender, whatever.
In really stereotypical ways. I mean, I think it's interesting what gets read as sexually vibrant is so able, basically ableist and defined by, through like a gendered normativity that aggression or submission or it never ceases to amaze me when Disney pictures Berkeley, how partners that are feminine are also always needing or on heels and unable to actually be very mobile. I mean, it's so great that now, like, there's power can look like, but it still is ableist, even if it's gendered now and slightly less gendered now.
Yeah,
it's still really ableist. It's like, this is what robust sexuality looks like. It's never. I remember one of Ada Morales' writings, and she wrote about tigerish, and now she's like me and like suckling, and it was so. Maybe we can post it on the Sins page. Such a sexy and robust, passionate. And we usually don't think of something that's simultaneously passionate, passive.
Yeah,
it is hot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think with passive, like low energy self, really sexy being is like, that's been a really freeing of realizing that my past conceptions of what it took to be a sexy man were completely wrong, and that like I can define my own and and that it doesn't even have to lie within masculinity. That's been another thing, is beauty and the parts of myself that want to run expectations and that just have never fit. Yeah, I think I also identify as a sea urchin in that way.
yeah, totally. And it's funny because, like, I think of some of the sexy encounter my cat, and she's and lets herself be like loved on, and that's one of the reasons I'm often like, oh, people just want to sleep when they come in. That's what they should do, because that's great. I mean, just being a piece of art is really awesome and beautiful, and compelling. I don't know if I'm always down like something that's like, like sometimes. And plants, my God, like how hot are plants, and really aggressively, like swooning, and I don't know, I appreciate that. And at the same time, it's hard to resist the media spectacle of whatever, like I'm thinking, what was it, the Super Bowl, J-Lo and all her like everything, and that's one version,
right,
and then it becomes the version,
right.
Okay, I want to hear Rafi's questions. So we have a love assistant.
The next one.
Okay, did that.
We did that.
Yes.
Thanks.
Oh, that's a great one.
Okay. Okay, so this question is there anything you need your partner to be in a relationship with you? And for abled and disabled lovers.
I should really ask the person that's holding up front, who's my years. I think for me, people are very. I'm a chair user because they're going to see me publicly. I don't tend to meet people like, just laying on the floor. But I think it's really hard to know. Like, there's such a variety of ways that people could be, regardless of if someone is disabled themselves or not. And even within any disability, like you might have like chronic fatigue, and it's going to look different for somebody else that has chronic fatigue, and that's going to look different, and I'll, assume you're going to speak to that. But with myself, like, I know that, people assume I can do a strong personality, and because, I'm kind of, whatever, my arms don't look necessarily that different than someone's arms, that people can make assumptions based on just their experience and on able-bodied normativity. So we basically have to tell people everything verbally. Everything is verbally mediated. Oh, are we doing a tech adjustment?
I'm just reading somebody's comment.
Oh, cool. And for people to be in relationship with me, be it friend or romantic, people have to be willing to learn that they don't know everything, which is always a healthy assumption, I think, that we don't think our assumptions onto other people. People have to need some, or I guess people have to be in. Maybe Google is doing its Googling. As it always done. I'm so done with the surveillance state, but it's a whole other long conversation.
Siri decided to pop in to say hello.
But people have to be humble about their own learning so that they can hear what I'm saying and be willing to explore with me what works with them, because like, I've hooked up with people that are both huge size-wise in comparison to me and tiny in comparison to me, and tall and my height or shorter. And like everybody has an advantage, and everybody has makes fucking harder, less easy, and it's about how it's going to fit with. A short is going to have a certain ability to squat, for example, as opposed to a tall partner who's going to have an ability to lean over. They're both like equally entertaining, and also like they're going to have their edges of what they can and can't do, right? Even though they may both be able-bodied. It's kind of like how we fit together has to be learned. And if someone thinks and they have to like do things formulaically, it's awesome to hang out with.
Yeah. That I think myself, since my condition is very unstable, and I feel like I live in many different bodies throughout the year, sometimes I have lots of energy and anywhere, and other times I can't for long periods of time. That is difficult to disclose, I'd say, to people, or to explain, I think, particularly to able-bodied people. Like, if I'm going to get into a relationship with someone, and usually this has been the past, is that I go out finding people while my pretty good health and like I'm appearing able-bodied because, and I think because of internal, I generally have a self-isolating tendency when I'm feeling really sick, which is telling people that, you know, like right now I may be able to be like really active in the bedroom and like I need to just like bottom for months at a time. And like that's okay. But it definitely does complicate disclosure for me, and particularly really have to be explaining my body's condition for them to get a sense of how different things are on a day-to-day basis.
Frustrating. It's like over and over again, you know, like reinforcing, like, no, this really is, you know, what's happening. That would be, I think there's a way in which having a visible disability is a natural screen, you know, or like it naturally sifts out people that are going to be complete assholes. You know, people are just like, oh no, like I would never, you know, and okay, then you don't get the opportunity, do you? And you know, they're lost. But I think that if somebody, you know, is apparently non-disabled, even though they are in fact disabled, I can see like that, just the way that able-bodied people kind of categorize bodies, like you're either fit or you're unfit. You're either able-bodied or you're disabled. I could see people kind of getting like stumbling on and really having to open up their understanding of their own bodies in a way, you know, as something that isn't in fact always at like the peak of ability.
Right.
It's more threatening than somebody who's, you know, consistently othered. Or someone can, you know, if it's a short-term thing, you know, one night or a couple of weeks or whatever, like someone can other me successfully and still be and not threaten their sense of self necessarily, because they're seeing me as capital like D, like on the other side of the spectrum, like they're going to somebody is basically visually able-bodied to them, then it could be threatening for that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, yeah, people, it can be difficult. I can tell that people even still don't disabled, even though I myself identify as disabled. And often when I am, I do have a flare-up of my symptoms. It's interpreted the same way as like if their partner got flu or something, and I'm just like, you know, aid and whatnot. But the problem is that that's not sustainable because that's how I am all the time. I don't want to be in a position where the person or the body that they want is the one that's experiencing the least number of symptoms. And yeah, I've often of people like when I get sick, like romantic partners or close to, then start, increasing treatment or
Oh, wow.
best. Yeah, and that's always been strange because I feel like they feel like they've been dating two different people.
Mm.
Right? Or I feel like I'm dating two different, like the lover and the doctor, in a sense, which is really nasty.
Yeah, I think it threatens people's sense of able-bodiedness. If people able-bodied, superior.
Yeah.
People, like are not disabled. I can see people strong of self, basically, and like projecting that struggle onto the other person. That's what people like freak out, not perception of difference for them. What does it mean if somebody else, if that can happen to me, and this is
right.
Is to be in a what people project as like a state of dependence, or especially in this culture where, I mean, in reality, like we're all really vulnerable to capital, and at any moment, if anything should happen to our bodies, like no matter where we fall on, like we could going to change over the life of a person, and we could be to rely on, and the state is completely fucking unreliable.
Yeah.
Like with it's not being provided for. That is, yeah. And changeable, goddammit. Like we should change that. Like that is to change. All have good health care and all have consistent good support for our body. Absolutely.
Or when the state fails, family or loved ones step in to take over care or to help with care. And often I felt with people I've been with that as soon as they realize that there actually is going to need to be time invested, that's like a huge turnoff, right? Or like something easy, realizing that like bodies have needs, and like if you're going to be spending a significant money, that's going to require that we exchange care, so right. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that one. I always wonder what able-bodied people are going to do when they get older. I'm like, do you really be able to do that?
Yeah.
Like, aren't you going to want to like have a life after you, change somebody that can't walk, and when you change, like, whatever, can't think the same way, like, don't you still want a life? Adapting to the fact that all bodies are like basically variable, and some of us just know that earlier. A headache, sorry, if tech land or getting shaken there. What else you're saying, Gordon, makes me think of one of the times that I felt really the crappiest about my performance, was a disabled who was really speak for them, obviously, but I think for me, I felt like I was basically more able-bodied than I, and like I had a certain amount of bandwidth, and that from the beginning wasn't even disability related. It also disability related, but it wasn't just. It was like how much time I have, like a day to, dote on anybody, given the fact that I work and, the fact that I have a primary partner and, how much I work with attendance, disability related, and, that, it left a certain amount of bandwidth. And it was weird. Yeah, I had to perform able-bodiedness in order to, like, if I couldn't basically get my energy up for them, then they were taking it very personally. And I was like, wow, of all people not to understand.
Yeah.
Well, because I would hope you understand. Yeah, so I mean, I think that we can do with other folks that are disabled, but I don't think we can, just because someone's disabled, they're going to get. But they life, real terms.
Right. A disabled experience either, right? But yeah, of how the sort of standard media representation of love is that it's something that's given to be that gives you energy, supposed to like give you, pass along to your partner, like like you're supposed to be making like the big moves of going out and getting flowers, I don't know, time in bed or something like that. And I've definitely felt that on days when I've been really tired, people questioning me, like, do you like me? Like, do you like me? Be like, this isn't
about you.
Right, this isn't about you. It isn't an expression of my desire.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I would sure love.
Yeah.
I think everybody has expectations of their partner's bodies or other people's, and that's something that needs to be viewed, really re-examined and put under review. Yes.
And it's hard too, because sometimes, at least for me, like the part of me that is engaged with someone romantic, like the youngest part of me. And so I remember thinking, yeah, if you care with me, because surely, like because I'm an insomniac, like, surely, like, this, my insomnia is contagious, and surely, you can, like, just be awake all the time, because I can be awake all the time. And it took me freaking years to realize, okay, this is you're driven. Like, Patty had to have a conversation with it and be like, okay, honey, this is like, people, like, this is just a real physical need this person has, which is sleep, which is normal. Sleeping is also normal, although not as common. And
Right.
but like the little kid part, stay awake. And because other people, like, part of me, yeah, I just was browning until I was mature enough to realize that mature enough to have a conversation with myself and kind of appreciate the person on their terms, so to speak, you know?
Yeah.
And not on like my, yeah. Wait, I want to get to more of these break questions. Can we check if there are other questions before we go into our already prepared questions?
It looks like Ari Kleinman, who was having a problem with captioning, and it is on her end. And I'm really sorry that that's happening, Ari, if you're there. Hopefully it comes out better on the recording.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we should, I mean, I think later on the captioning, so if not now, then hopefully later on the transcript, if it's not functioning now, or to troubleshoot it now, I think.
Yeah, but the video will be on our page afterward, transcripts.
Yeah. Question. Okay, for you, Gordon, what are your best tips for accessible sex practices?
I would say one thing that I feel like I had trouble with initially, and this is, I'll be straightforward in saying that, I was raised with a shitty worldview, but like I had always thought that sex like always involved contact. And I've had to be on like a lot of antidepressants, medication that has made coming like very difficult through a lot of my life. Like real doesn't always have to involve that was great for me, and also disclosing that to my partner that it's not that I'm not enjoying but also that's not what sex always has. Also being okay with taking breaks, I would say, is me, or just stopping after a short period of time is very necessary for me, because I have trouble with physical exertion and my body getting really tired. So making sure that these are things that are communicated and not interpreted as a lack of interest, I don't know, has been important for me in making sure that I still feel confident and sexy. Yeah, but I'm really interested in what you have to say about accessible sex practices.
I feel like, do you see something on that side?
No. I don't feel anything.
Good.
Can I scratch your face?
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Oh, it's okay. For people that don't know, I have a bug phobia. Hopefully only a few people know this. But yeah, so sometimes I'm like, what's that? It's an ant. Oh my God. It's an alien. Anyway, okay. One, like, is really important, like whatever. Fantasies are great in terms of like getting energy up to a certain place. It doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen in the moment, like whatever is, if there's changes in how I'm feeling, or I'm feeling either, I guess, emotionally physically. I think that kind of rolling with what's happening for me is makes it more accessible, because I might, if all of a sudden something, I'm not gonna get distracted, sometimes, and sometimes not. Depends on what's hurting and how it's hurting, and action, from pain. But I'm not gonna advance. It's like what's up in the moment is really. I think another thing is devices are great. Adaptive devices aren't just for mobility, but they're for our bodies too. So my wheelchair, my mechanical lifter, my positions, those are great vehicles for ways to support my sex. It's great to fuck in a lifter. It's great to fuck in whatever. I used to have a chair that I could lay the back all the way down in, and someone could sit in, and that was really nice. I've broken things too, that I have to say. I've broken basically every piece of adaptive equipment that exactly right. but yeah, because I've except for because this one was and out of pocket, and is actually better built. It's a Swedish thing, so it's built for. But that would just be one thing I would caution people that are using their, whatever. If you have a super pain, you might want to not use that one to lean on when you're fisting someone. You might want to lean on something that is, replaceable. Cheaper cane. So I think not being scared of adaptive is really great. Not just not scared of, but actively including is really helpful. Access is good. More slippery, the more better. And less friction, right? And the more you can just slide on somebody with lessened. If that makes sense. When something is more slippery, then it takes less effort to move. Water beds have been really great because of the counter pressure that they provide, or the counter movement. That's kind of nice. But I really think actually connecting with another being and finding pleasure in their body, no matter what, it doesn't have to. It could just be through, or through maybe some fucking, but not necessarily orgasm centered fucking, but just because it's kind of fucking, or and fucking in its broadest sense of the term. It's just rhythm. That makes pleasure most accessible is by widening and broadening out what be pleasurable. Sometimes I know I'm a giant pervert, but when I totally made out with my cat without necessarily putting on my cat, but we're in the in the pleasure, giving and receiving, non-genitally, like it's a version of making, you know. And with plants, I think I described that once on Crip. But the juicy experience can be non-genital, and it's kind of where the energy is, right? It's like if you just are in that sexual energy. If that makes
No, totally. You have very sexy plants and a just little cat.
Yeah.
All makes sense.
And food is really good. Right now, the person that I'm involved with is and that's unfortunate because I think food is one of the most like erotic things that can happen. Although I eat fruit quite a bit, but like I get like salt, you know, like salt on a person's finger, and just, you know,
I agree. And as a bit of a segue, I think that what makes you feel sexy, and for me, it's definitely eating. I mean, pre-bloating, like it's definitely eating. Or oh my god.
Yeah, being fed can be very hot.
Yeah.
But it's, again, it's all about the intention. It can also be really clinical. Someone feeds you in like a, you know, shove food in your mouth kind of. You know, I was recently in the hospital and like through food, which was so great. Actually, several friends were, and it was so great because they were just, yeah. I mean, I felt like it was thing ever, and at the same time, when one of the nurses was like, "Your blood sugar's low. You have to eat. You have to eat." Oh, that, no, like that is like anti. That was like every kind of kill for food, you know. Like, no, I don't have to. Yeah.
Right.
What else makes you feel sexy besides?
I would say trying on new clothing and staring at myself in the mirror is always great. So, you know, allowing myself to be vain every now and then is, I think, really important because, you know, it's really, really fucked up self-image, and like for me, clothing, like just appreciating what I'm wearing and seeing it as beautiful also helps me see that I'm making the clothing beautiful.
Yay, yes.
I love having some mirror time every now and then.
Yeah, that's what it is for me. I mean, it's like, you know, it's really fun to just appreciate ourselves. I think there's a healthy narcissism in, I mean, we have to experience ourselves as sexy for someone else to really be able to get into us, you know? I mean, and even like, how could for me now, I am in my head and heart, like, how could I not see myself as sexy? Because I am. And I shouldn't laugh, but it's true. Like, I like mirror and playing with my face and adornment, you know, it's part of every creature loves adornment, you know. Like
yeah,
it's part of, I mean, you know, plants appreciate being appreciated, you know, like completely put on a show, you know, their partners, and you know, all the animals that do. And you know, I'm sure some of them like so far underwater that they're not visible, but then when the light hits them, you're like, oh my god, some creature, you know. And like I do believe that for myself, like adornment is a big part of attractive. Yeah, adorning myself.
Well, I hope I can reach the level of level that you're on at your age.
Funny.
It takes a long I know.
Yeah, it takes practice. About physically, are there certain experiences other than eating that make you feel sexy?
I don't know. Maybe answer first, and I'll think about it. Yeah,
Sure. I like the sun. And I was realizing I like things that warm my my nerves. Being sweaty, especially with someone else. Having my joints massaged, like things that make me feel more supple, make me feel sexy. Like I'm sexy when I feel stiff, like I feel a little bit almost like a doll, like you can look but can't touch. When I'm feeling cold and stiff, and I like more supple. Never beat my cat.
just a stretchy noodle.
Yeah, she is totally. Yeah. But I like it when I feel newly in the sun and just draped by. And I also think times when I'm asleep, like I feel really sexy because I'm in such a vulnerable space with someone else physically. When my sweetie and I sleep together and I wake up in the morning, like I just want to like nuzzle in, and like it's like the most primal thing, to like get up in somebody's like skin. Yeah, and I the difference between their sexiness and mine, because it's just like one ball of like sweaty, yummy skin. Yeah, it's a
yeah. Oof, yeah. I love that too, because I feel like over the course of the day, I have chronic pain that usually gets worse as the day goes on, and like at the end of the night, it's hard to get to sleep, and I feel really stiff, and I should stretch more, but I don't. And I just like all of my muscles have relaxed through the night, and like just have that heavy blanket on me, and like it's totally dark, and like I feel like so far from the public eye. I feel like privacy is really sexy to me. Like not feeling like people that can hear me and that I can like make weird noises. Like I can like without being judged. I can like yodel in the morning. Like I can move around however I want. Definitely makes
that makes so much sense to me. Like the privacy, who and is, yeah, that's I think the time and part of the allure, and kind of want to engage with someone else's body or my own is by either jack off or someone else. It is, just there's no judgment, there's no just be in my skin and like not trip on what someone. Yeah, the privacy, the anonymity. If it's a hotel where other people are still, that is nice in a different city. And I'm realizing I want to acknowledge that, like, there, you know, a lot of what we've talked about has been with partners, and I do know that within ableism, people are so marginalized, accessing pleasure with another person, and also shamed at the idea of, you know, within, you know, this moment in the world, and this place, shame for enjoying our own bodies, much less somebody else's. And I just think how to, like, this isn't communicated through the culture, but one thing was that my sexuality and my sexuality didn't have appreciation of me. You know, it's like my desire, my sexiness, like integrity in and of itself. You know, what somebody else found it, like, that's their loss then. You know, and it took judging myself and feeling fucked up for not having a partner, or for not having, you know, more access to one night stands. And, you know, I used to think, wow, if I looked the way that I looked and behaved the way that I behaved, was just not visibly disabled, I would just have so much more action. And I think that at this point, like, the quality of that action, you know, like, mechanically, sure, that I'm sure mechanically, like, that would get off. And at the same time, like, I don't know, I think I'm worth quality attention, you know, and I give myself a quality that I mean, I don't know how to put it exactly. I guess I see myself, you know, I'm 52 now. Yeah. And so I, like, it's taken some practice, but I feel like I more often than not see myself, and I want, you know, people seeing their projections or expectations, and I don't, and I think I deserve that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, all that to say, yeah, if someone can't see me or freak fuck for somebody, I'm not really down. It's not as interesting. When I was younger, I was like, okay, if that's what I can get, that's what I can get. It's not even, not worth my time and interest, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, I what you were saying about feeling like you need to be with someone to, like, complete, and I think there's so much pressuring people to be in relationships, especially women, that, like, you're not whole unless you have unless you're having sex, or, like, mirrors how, like, people with disabilities are seen as, like, not whole because of their, and it's like all these sort of compromised, it, like, really compromises your identity, I imagine, to be both single, and I know that periods of my life have led to, like, serious, like, anger at myself, and, you know, self-loathing. It's sort of like almost an expected consequence of living in ableism. Yeah.
Yeah, part of the most, I think, aspects of ableism is the way that it sows self-doubt about our own beauty and, you know, our own power, which is how, like, to live a complicated life, like just impairment, that's brilliant, you know. I hate that our beauty and our power get turned against us, you know, and suggested to, you know, sort of like, no, that's actually evidence of my creative capacity.
Yeah. Your strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to also acknowledge the time because I think I can't exactly see what time is it.
It's 7:15.
Oh shit! Well, here we go. Check this out. Whoever's watching, listening, we are going to be doing this year at Sins Invalid, including launching some online classes with anti-ability justice. What internally I jokingly call Sins University, and we're also going to be doing other colleges have asked, as well as working again with San Francisco Women Against Rape. And we're also, drum roll, going to be doing a performance this year that we have to postpone. So I'm really excited that my house is, not my house, my body. Well, I don't know how to say it other than cancer free. I don't have any cancer. I'm very relieved for folks that may be, you know, in different relationships to their body and diagnoses, like just all the power and love and how you negotiate through the MIC, and, you know, no matter what, our bodies are, you know, and beautiful, and they're like the squishiest sack, you know, that always need our care, you know, and I'm so glad that mine at this point, like, there is no cell action happening. Out of that, I feel this year. So please make sure that you're tuned in to our Facebook updates and or our newsletter. You can go and check out our fancy new website and sign up for the newsletter. To see us at ODC Theater. Should I say the dates? Is it too early?
Give a date range.
Yeah. So sometime in June. We've never done. This year we are, and our queer, brown, cripped out bodies. And this time we'll actually do it in June. So check it out, ODC Theater. But you'll hear more as we get closer. And we're calling it We Love Like Barnacles, Crip Lives Within Climate Chaos. Yeah, you will hear more. Hang out with us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah,
and thanks for talking with me. This was really fun.
Yeah, you're
really...
All right, okay. Until soon.
Yeah.
2020 captions up soon.
Yeah, okay.
Bye.